Hi, my name is David P Shapiro. I'm the owner and managing partner of the law office of David P Shapiro, located in San Diego, California, where my firm helps good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. In this video, I want to talk to you about the first couple of weeks of what's going on in Minneapolis, the George Floyd trial. Opening statements started on Monday, March 29th, and a lot of times people who are not too familiar with the criminal justice system will be confused about, well, what's an opening statement? Isn't, they call it an opening argument. For the most part, opening statements are just that. It's sort of like a map where the attorneys will map out to the jury, in this instance, 12 jurors who will be making the decision of guilt or not guilt for Derek Chauvin. And the attorneys will map out what they believe the evidence will show. So, they may tell it in a story, by way of imagining if you were there. They may tell it through the perspective of George Floyd. The defense attorney may tell it through the perspective of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. And it gives the jury a good idea of what is to come. Now, we have heard a lot, and understandably so, and rightfully so, in pretty much every instance, of outrage. Outrage about, what's really the issue here? Right? There is this video of 8 minutes, 46 seconds, 9 minutes, whatever it is, too long, of Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's back, George Floyd's neck, and you literally watch the man die. Okay? What is important to understand, and this is very difficult, very, very difficult, and that's why jury selection is so important in any criminal case, particularly in a case like this, is because what a jury will need to do, and what a jury has been asked to do, and what a jury in this instance has promised to do, is separate everything outside the courtroom and make their decision whether the charges, whether second degree, third degree murder, or second degree manslaughter, have been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, focusing only on what's presented to them. So we hear a lot. We heard Benjamin Crump repeatedly say, well, why is this a hard case? Look at the video. And from a social justice perspective, without question. From a police reform perspective, without question. It is an open and shut case. Things need to change. Things should have changed 100 years ago, let alone 100 days ago, let alone, a year ago. But the evidence should control this case. And when everything's flushed out, I believe that the prosecution may have a difficult time convicting Derek Chauvin of second degree murder. They may get him on third degree murder. I believe they should and will get him on manslaughter at the very least. But it's important to differentiate as we start up this George Floyd trial to understand that, what we may see on social media, what we may see at a press conference, what we may really believe and know what happened. It's ultimately up to the jury to make that decision. And the hope is that they get it right based on applying the evidence that's before them and applying it to the law. And then the real impact, though, of this case, I believe, will go far beyond what the jury of the 12 people in Minneapolis decide. It will be what we do with it as a society, what we do with it to initiate police reform, what we do with it to maintain and continue to improve on police reform. So when there are signs like officers Derek Chauvin that they're in the pipeline, law enforcement proactively eradicates them, because cops like him give the good cops out there a bad name. Cops like Chauvin fuel this fire in our society, and it's long overdue that we get a handle on it and we eradicate these officers from the force, and that we enable law enforcement to weed these people out and to encourage them to be weeded out, to be proactive in weeding them out. And that will hopefully save lives in the future, particularly lives of black men, particularly lives of brown men, particularly lives of any minority or anyone, any life. We want to save as many lives as possible, and police reform is one way to get there. So that's my take on the first, jury selection through opening statements on the George Floyd homicide trial, the trial of defendant Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis. Keep an eye out to our YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at DP Shapiro for my take on appearances that I've made discussing the Derek Chauvin trial, as well as my thoughts on the state of the evidence, how I think the case is playing out. And if you have any questions about your matter, or have an opportunity where you want to discuss this matter further, we can always be reached at 619-295-3555.